Paul Gover getting a little excited there as we take a look at some of the highlights in the opening race of Nations Cup.
Yeah, 3 races this weekend. This is the highlight of the first one. Darcy Russell, the awesome power of the Dodge Viper as he takes Peter Fitzgerald Falcon Tyres Porsche. Craig Baird coming through in car number 4, the car that Mark Noske normally drives in the championship, but unfortunately, due to his broken arm, he can't.
Good times by Craig Baird as well. Got down to a 1:15.75 during this race. There's some incredible pace, but it was Paul Stokel who took it out in the Lamborghini. A good effort.
Great drive and also a tremendous performance from the Vipers. Darcy Russell coming through. Jeff Morgan also extremely competitive this weekend.
Well, after a disappointing round at Canberra, points is what you wanted and what you needed, and you've got them, Paul Stokel. Well done.
Thanks very much. Yeah, the car ran faultlessly. It was a very good effort from all the guys.
Okay, now these Vipers behind you, they were closing in on you as you're going along. Were you pushing as hard as you can?
Yeah, my word. I was very surprised how quick the Vipers were. They've improved the whole week. Like, Jeff's been doing a great job in the car, and in qualifying was only 1.5 tenths, and I think it worked out very similar. Like, he's found half a second on us somewhere, and I think I'm going to be pull my finger out for the rest of the weekend. It's going to be tight for the reverse grid, that's for sure.
Getting set for the second of 3 races in the megamantis.com Nations Cup. Our trackside onboard camera spins around to show you Craig Baird. Our other camera on board with multiple champion Jimmy Richards.
And Jimmy leading the Maguire's Drivers' Championship on 380 points. Reverse grid this time around, but Downard will start on pole. Steve Beards alongside Shearman, Algardri, Tulin Palmer, Sammy Newman and Dominic Beninka.
Further back through the field, Martin Wagg in the Porsche GT3 alongside Jim Richards, Fitzgerald and Baird from row 6. 7 is Darcy Russell and Jeff Morgan, and the man who took out the opening encounter, Paul Stokel, alongside Tony Quinn. We jump aboard with Craig Baird in the Ferrari 360, swinging onto the front straight. Keep in mind, this is a rolling start in this one, and the fast guys are at the back of the grid. Away we go. We've got green conditions. Awesome start by Palmer in the Honda NSX.
Yeah, I think he jumped it by about 3 days by the look of that. I think Mike Dennis, the race director, will take a good, long, hard look at that one.
This is a tough time, Cameron McConville, for the guys at the back of the grid because they've got to try and thread the eye of the needle and find a way through.
Well, you're better off being a little bit patient, probably at least through the first corner or two, but Palmer's off and running, but you cannot overtake until you pass the start-finish line, as far as I understand it, Craig.
That's correct. Mike Downard in second spot now. Steve Beards coming through. Big field of Ferrari 6 here for the Prancing Horse team this weekend.
The flag is already being shown to our race leader. He'll need to come in, so Palmer will want to keep this pace up to lose as little time as possible with this stop-go penalty.
Look at the amazing start by Baird, though, in car number 4. He's already up into the top 3. Jimmy Richards in car number 1, the OM's Porsche, riding with him now.
Good effort by the Kiwi, Craig Baird. Last season, he was in a V8 supercar driving for the Pertec team. A little sideways for Baird on coal tyres as they come through this intersection, but he has worked from almost the rear of the grid up into effectively first place. Someone's got off in the background there, one of the Ferraris.
Ian Palmer, the Brabham Honda NSX, will take his stop-go penalty this time around, so Baird goes through. Oh, Morgan in trouble too in the Dodge Viper.
It's a shame because Jeff Morgan's been going so well here at Queensland. That car has improved substantially, and perhaps even so has he.
Yes, he
More
has.
pace from the Monster.com entry.
Engineered by Barry Jones, who've done a tremendous job to get the Vipers competitive. Also Darcy Russell, very quick. Problems for Dominic Beninka in car 14, the TNT Porsche.
Damage to the rear of the car there, Craig, the right rear, so it looks like he may have copped a tap in the rear at some point, and that's rubbing on the bodywork.
Yeah, and it looks like he'd have to go into the pits. Craig Baird now on a charge, but he's got Jimmy Richards, who's not that far behind, and I can tell you when you see that car number 1 Porsche, you need to put your head down and go as hard as you possibly can.
Oh, Palmer in trouble still. So he's buried the car in the sand trap.
Aboard with Jimmy Richards. There's our race 1 winner. And look at the pace from the Lamborghini as Paul Stokel goes down the inside. And that is just sheer straight line speed.
It is, no doubt about it. He obviously got a very good run out of the corner off the back straight, so good drive. And this track does reward a car that has good mid-corner speed. Now, that car's very wide track. It's a big car, got a lot of power, and obviously can carry a lot of mid-corner speed through the fast turn 1 and turn 2 here.
Jimmy Richards closes up under brakes again in car number 1 as the John Briggs Alfa Romeo safety car comes out. So by virtue of Ian Palmer putting the car in the sand trap, this will be a safety car situation.
It's a very treacherous place for that to happen. Turn 2 as well. They're carrying a lot of speed through that corner.
They are. There's a big sand trap, as you can see there, and I've never seen a car completely clear the sand trap, and you can see he didn't get in very far, but certainly probably the highest speed part of the racetrack here.
This has bunched the field up nicely. A good opportunity for Paul Stokel, who's right on the back of our race leader. And That is Craig Baird. The lights are out on the safety car. We will get a restart this time around as he jump aboard with Jim Richards. And the OAMPS Porsche, the reigning champion, has done it on more than one occasion now in this category. But the level of competition is stepping up a notch, and some of the Porsche drivers are doing it a bit tougher. The Ferraris and the Lamborghinis have dominated the championship so far.
Well, you never underestimate Jimmy Richards, though, leading the championship coming into this round. It was Paul Stokel in the Lamborghini who led into the last round at Canberra, the GMC 400, but he had a shocker of a weekend. Didn't finish any of the 3 races down there, and of course picked up no points as a result.
Look at this. Look at the way that Stokel's car moved around off the exit of turn 2. Baird, as he's quite rightly entitled to do, is playing defensive here and making Stokel do all the hard work. Watch for an over and under treatment here.
Well, Stokel tried to go the inside, but it was too late. Craig had moved across, but then I think Craig actually moved back to the middle of the road, so just enough that Stokel had to lift, balked him a little bit, slowed down his momentum, but he's got plenty of momentum here. I doubt he'll be able to pull it off around the outside.
Good late braking move from Craig Baird. He holds out the Lamborghini. This is the 2 Italian marks going at it head-to-head. Then it's the German entries. The Porsche's in the hands of Fitzgerald. And just up ahead of him in third is Jim Richards. But what about this effort from Paul Stokel? He is throwing everything at this Ferrari.
3 different manufacturers in the top 3. Ferrari, 3.6 litre V8. The Lamborghini, a V12, 5.7 litre V12. And then the Porsche, of course, being the 3.8 litre flat boxer.
Stokel runs a little wide, drops the left-hand rear off onto the dirt. Now the power of the Lamborghini coming into play, but he's on the outside as they head into turn 1. Baird should have the running. No, good move by Stokel. Brave move by Stokel. He gets there.
Very clean move right around the outside, and that is a fast corner there, but Craig Baird did very well not to clip him. It was, I tell you, must have trusted that Baird would have given him room. All it would have taken was a slight touch, and Stokel would have been in that sand trap.
So is Paul Stokel going to make it 2 out of 2 this weekend as Russell now starts to chase down Peter Fitzgerald in the Falcon Tyres Porsche? The big red Dodge Viper also extremely competitive this weekend.
Good times being shown by Paul Stokel at the moment, a 1:14.48, so some incredible pace from the big Lamborghinis. We ride with Jimmy Richards. There's Peter Fitzgerald hounding him at the moment. These guys have been teammates and won the Bathurst 3-hour. Look at Russell having a charge here on the outside in the big Dodge Viper. Jeff Morgan in the background as well, so a thrilling battle going on here for third.
Yeah, Morgan's had to come through from that earlier spin, so he's done well to climb onto the back of Fitz in the Falcon Tyres Porsche. Jimmy and Peter Fitzgerald only about a 1/10 of a second between them in qualifying.
Look at Morgan all over the back of Fitzy there, and I know Jeff has done a lot of testing recently at Oran Park, but look, Fitzy tries to go up the inside, and oh, he's got it sideways coming onto the straight.
It cost him a lot of time too.
Absolutely, Morgan will probably power past, so very surprised though, Craig, at the outright pace of the Vipers this weekend.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, Cam, Barry Jones has done a lot of work to get these cars competitive. They're running the American Le Mans body kit now with a rear diffuser you can see down under the bumper bar at the rear end of the Viper. They're running the ACR cylinder heads this year, so they've got about 25-30 more horsepower as well, and a slightly bigger brake package, which has really been the Viper's problem.
Well, Morgan is using it to maximum advantage. He's gotten around the inside of Jim Richards, carried the power through on turn 2 and the momentum, and he will hang on to third position here now. So Jeff Morgan in the Monster.com Viper really on a charge.
Chairman of Morgan and Banks, the worldwide recruiting agency, has raced Porsche Cup, I think 3 or 4 time Australian Porsche Cup champion, stepped up to this car, has been quite frustrated by it, but finally it's good to see that the whole package is coming together.
He's just one of those competitive sort of individuals, so when he steps into a car that perhaps straight away isn't on the pace, he's a little frustrated, but he and Barry have worked away, they've kept chipping at it, and now the car's showing its true potential. Jim Richards under siege from Darcy Russell. And in the background, the recovering Peter Fitzgerald, who at this point on the track last time around got a little sideways and washed off a fair amount of speed, and that cost him.
So Jimmy runs to the inside. Russell will run to the outside, and yeah, you can just see the power of the V10 8-litre straight down the main straight. Nothing that Jimmy Richards can do about it under brakes.
Well, they certainly have improved the braking capacity of these Vipers too, Craig, because generally they were let down by brakes, but we've seen them being able to carry passing manoeuvres either on the inside and on the outside on that opportunity around a Porsche as well.
Now Morgan out after Craig Baird. Morgan on the outside as they come down into turn 3 at the end of the back straight. Big late braking manoeuvre from Craig Baird, and he holds the Viper out.
So Morgan forced to slot in behind. This is the battle for second outright. Baird in second, Stokel still leading in the Lamborghini. Morgan will now try and come back at him.
He's on the outside though for this inner left-hander, but he's got some incredible pace on Jeff Morgan. Baird comes back at him though. Hard on the brakes in the Ferrari. And that's, I guess, one of the strong points about the Ferrari.
It certainly is. It carries good mid-corner speed as well, but I really am impressed with Jeff Morgan. I know that Rick Bates has been doing a lot of testing with them, and they say not only have they improved the car, that Jeff's driving better than ever.
Certainly is. We're on our way home in this one. Final attempt by Peter Fitzgerald on Jimmy Richards, but the man who will take it out is Paul Stokel. A sensational effort in the Lamborghini Diablo. Hanging on to second, Craig Baird, and he only just holds out Jeff Morgan. Superb effort from the Vipers. Home fourth, Darcy Russell, and look at that. Even on the line, he was still having a go right at the very finish, Fitzgerald. Real tough day at the office for Dom Beninka in the TNT Porsche, losing valuable time on the final corner.
Yeah, plenty of smoke coming out of the back of the Porsche too, so it looks like he's clobbered somebody else on the way through. Stokel's made it 2 out of 2 so far, so a great result so far this weekend for the Lamborghini team. Baird second, then Morgan, Russell, Richards, Fitzgerald, Tony Quinn into the top 7, then Mahir Al Ghadri in the Ferrari.
Good effort by Tony Quinn when you consider that he started off the back of the grid. Scott Shearman, Beards, John Chulin 11th, Mike Downard 12th, and Dom Beninka 3 laps down.
Driving a $350,000 car isn't daunting enough, but let alone having a reverse grid race. How hard do they want to make it for you, Craig Baird? Good drive.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It's yeah, I tell you what, I don't like to think about the cost of the car when I'm out there, but being the one that I don't own it makes it a little bit easier. But no, I tell you what, the reverse grid race, it can be exciting, but I tell you what, the cars are probably too expensive for it, you know.
Nations Cup cars on the track at Queensland Raceway. The sun's starting to set late in the afternoon here. And this is the final of 3 races in the latest round of the Megamantis.com Championship. Craig Baird will carry one of our 2 trackside onboard cameras. This, Craig Denyer, is the other one with Jim Richards.
Yes, but Paul Stokel on pole position from Morgan alongside, then Baird, Russell, Peter Fitzgerald, the Falcon Tyres Porsche from Jimmy Richards, Mahir Al Ghadri doing well in the top 7 this weekend from Dominic Beninka in the TNT Porsche.
Further back through the field, John Chulin, Scott Shearman, Steve Beards, Martin Wagg, the Porsche Cup pilot, will start from position 12, 1 ahead of Tony Quinn and Mike Downard. Sam Newman will start from the 8th row of the grid alongside Ian Palmer, who's had a mixed weekend so far in the Honda NSX.
Good to see the John Can Ferrari here in Brisbane have backed Craig Baird's effort in the Mark Noske Budweiser car number 4 this weekend to get Baird to Queensland Raceway. In a great fighting second.
The John Briggs safety car should pull off this time around. It's a rolling start. Keep that in mind in Nations Cup. Stokel will lead the field. Winner of both the opening races here. Can he make it 3 from 3 in the Lamborghini Diablo? Baird, the Kiwi, will push him all the way, no doubt about it. Watch for Jeff Morgan in the Dodge Viper.
All the way safely, Tony Quinn well back in the field, not having the best of weekends, but Stokel into turn 1. Looks like Baird on the inside. Russell just behind him. Morgan forced to go around the outside. Martin Wagg coming through in car 70.
Someone's run wide and gotten, looks like Dominic Beninka may have gotten the outside 2 left wheels into the dirt. That's cost him a bit of time.
There's Beninka now coming through.
Field head down the back straight. And look at the way that the Diablo has pulled clear. The battle for second place, Craig Baird under siege from Jeff Morgan, camera combo.
Well, he is, and he needs to try and run with the Lamborghini if he can early on in the race. If he drives too defensively, he's going to really lose focus of that car up in front. But Stokel has absolutely bolted, and really looking at the results of the weekend so far, you've got to say he's going to do this fairly comfortably, Craig.
Yeah, Tony Quinn in the VIP Pet Foods Porsche unfortunately was running 3rd in the championship coming into this round after great performances at Adelaide, Wakefield Park and Canberra, but has really not had the best of weekends this weekend.
Stokel hard under brakes in the Lamborghini Diablo, swings it through this right-hander, which will bring them onto the front straight. Seems to go really well on cold tyres, Cam.
Yeah, and that's really the key to winning races these days. If you can get a break early on in a short race such as this and really put your head down and go while the rest fight amongst themselves, then you can look after your tyres and cruise perhaps a little more in the mid part of the race.
Also John Chulin coming through there in the Ferrari Prancing Horse car that he's driving this weekend. Martin Wagg in trouble. So he's clobbered somebody down the left-hand side of the Porsche, but bits hanging off, and has decided to throw it all away.
Big trouble.
In the XL concrete machine. Last year he was in a 993 Super Cup car in Porsche Cup. This season juggling Porsche Cup and Nations Cup. Big moment for Darcy Russell under brakes, and that's allowed Peter Fitzgerald to sneak up the inside and ride with Jim Richards now.
Interesting line from Darcy Russell there as we look at the bits fallen off Wagg's Porsche around the track. But the awesome power of the V10 8-litre Viper's really been able to come to the fore this weekend at Queensland Raceway. Tremendous battle between Baird and Jeff Morgan in the earlier race today. It looks looks like it's going to go right down to the wire in this one.
Russell looks as though he's managed to get back around Peter Fitzgerald there, or in the background rather. He's trying to do that as Morgan endeavours to find a way around Craig Baird. That sunlight must be a factor in certain parts of the track, particularly at the end of the back straight.
Definitely will be down there, Russie, at this particular time of the day. But Jeff Morgan's probably in the most difficult spot because he's trying to find a way past Craig Baird, but he's got Fitzy just breathing down his neck there. So if he goes out wide to make a pass, he could very easily be shuffled back 1 or 2 spots as well with Darcy Russell there in the Viper.
So 3 different manufacturers in this lot. You've got Ferrari, Porsche and Dodge Viper. Lamborghini leading the field at the moment. Jim Richards having a little bit of trouble trying to stay under the tail of Darcy Russell now.
Just checking the lap times. A 1:14.59, the best for Paul Stokel so far. So showing some incredible speed. The next best, you're talking sort of 1:15s. So Stokel really setting a cracking pace. And look at how big the gap is between himself and second. It was daylight there. Russell throws out a challenge to Peter Fitzgerald. As we look through the front window of Jim Richards' Porsche, bit of a puff of smoke under brakes from Darcy Russell. He can't find a way past there.
No, he can't, and it's very hard to outbrake a Porsche too. And we see Tony Quinn, the VIP Pet Foods 911, oh, headlight missing there, so some sort of contact. But I'm surprised too at the lack of pace of Jim Richards this weekend. Obviously he just needs to conserve and get points for his championship, but has been off the pace a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's his plan. I mean, he qualified just behind Fitzy, and they were about a second or so off the pace of the Lamborghini and the Ferrari, so Jimmy would be just driving for points.
Good battle for second now. Morgan trying to go around the outside, and that's a tough place at turn 1 to look for an opportunity.
Well, nearly impossible. There's a lot of marbles that build up there, and also the sand trap's very close to the track. A lot of people going off and dragging bits of dirt and debris there, so it's really only 1 car wide at turn 1, same with turn 2, but this is where you can actually go right around the outside if you can get close enough. Does the Viper have the legs?
No, Baird's too good under brakes, so he forces Morgan the long way around. Russell gets through on the inside of Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald trying to come back at him.
This is where Russell lost that position a couple of laps ago, but this time he hangs on to it. Now setting out after Jeff Morgan, so that's a change of position on that graphic there. Fitzgerald's in fact now back in 5th. Darcy Russell is up to 4th.
Great to see the Dodge Vipers back at the front of the field, eh, guys? I mean, they're just awesome machines.
Well, they're seeing great, and there's another driver who has come on too this season, I'd say, Craig and Darcy Russell. Really done a lot of a Porsche Cup and some open wheeler in his early days, but I think he's got quicker and quicker as every round's gone on as well.
And inspired by the new competitiveness of the cars too, has really lifted these guys.
The cars have been very popular, particularly in Le Mans trim. Dodge Viper, and very much a part of this championship now. They're vying for almost the lead. This is the battle for second. You can see Jeff Morgan in the Monster.com Viper trying to muscle his way past Craig Baird, and Baird doing an excellent job once again, the Kiwi in second, and making it as tough as he possibly can for Jeff Morgan.
Yeah, drove with the Stone Brothers last year, had to win at Phillip Island. Morgan thinks about a run down the inside, switches to the outside, and unfortunately Baird lost his drive from the Stone Brothers at the end of last season, and nice to see that the Prancing Horse team have given him a run in the Ferrari this year.
Yep, this will be a nice boost for Paul Cruikshank and Nigel Barclay and all the boys from Prancing Horse. If he can hang on to this second position, they dearly love the win, no doubt about it, but Baird on maximum attack and holding down second at the moment. As you jump aboard with him and you watch the Kiwi in action.
Glorious sound as the car comes up and down through the gears with the semi-automatic Formula 1 style gear shift in the Ferraris.
Morgan got a great run that time around. Our camera position shows you Morgan is there, but he's off to the outside. That won't be the place he can get around Baird, who continues to work away very hard in the cockpit.
Well, he does, and they're on the final lap now, so their really time is definitely running out, but Craig Berg's driving a very defensive line all the way around this track, and unless Jeff Morgan can get up the inside, and I would say he needs to do it on the exit of turn 2 here. We saw last time he tried to come across, but Craig was already starting to block and he had to lift, so can he get the nose up on the inside and get through at the end of the back straight?
Biggest problem with the Viper now, after about 8 or so laps down, is the brakes will start to go on the car. Let's just go a little bit spongy, you'll probably lose a little bit of confidence. Has a big go down the outside now. Is he far enough in front? No. Baird comes back at him under brakes.
Cameron McConville, you made a good point in the second of these races today. Rick Bates, your teammate for the upcoming V8 Enduros, has been doing a lot of testing on this car with Jeff Morgan, but it's not only the car that's coming on strong. Jeff is really improving in his driving, isn't he? It's always been good, though.
That's right, and he has closed up on Rick's time, so he's getting quicker and quicker, doing a lot of testing at Oran Park, and very good racetrack too, Oran Park, to really sort a car out like this.
So on the way home, Craig Baird, Paul Stokel well and truly in command. This is the battle for second. Again, Morgan thinks about a run down the outside, but Baird's well and truly got it covered.
This man has got it in the bag too. Paul Stokel comes across the start-finish line, and that's his third race win of the weekend in the fabulous Lamborghini Diablo. Second is going to go right to the wire, but it goes to Craig Baird over Jeff Morgan. Excellent performance from the Kiwi. But what about the effort of Paul Stokel in the Lamborghini Diablo?
Yeah, great win today, 3 out of 3, and of course that'll move him back into third spot, but this is the man that'll continue to lead the Maguire's Drivers' Championship, Jimmy Richards, as he acknowledges the crowd. Another tremendous and consistent performance in the Porsche as well. But this is Paul Stokel in that superb Lamborghini Diablo SVR, prepared by Team Lamborghini in Melbourne. All the way to the wire too, this is Mahir Al-Gadri, Sammy Newman and Scott Shearman also battling all the way to the flag, and John Chulin in the other prancing horse Ferrari 360 Modena Challenge just behind them on the road as well. Doesn't look like the best of weekends for Dominic Beninka in the Porsche GT3, so he's had an absolute shocker this weekend. So, round 4, the megamantis.com Nations Cup Championship. Paul Stokel, 3 out of 3 from Craig Baird. Then Jeff Morgan, Darcy Russell, Peter Fitzgerald, first home in the Porsches from Jimmy Richards. Mahir Al-Gadri to the top 10. Sammy Newman also doing very, very well to finish 8th outright. Scott Shearman, John Chulin, Ian Palmer, Tony Quinn, and also a good rookie performance for Steve Beards for the prancing horse team as well. Now with our race winner, here's Grant.
We're trying to stop Paul Stokel. It does seem mission impossible right now, doesn't it?
It's been a good weekend for us. Yeah, pole position, 3 wins. Can't ask for any more than that. We're really happy.
I suppose you're fearful that maybe the parity committee might step in and make a bit of lead in your car or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a circuit that suited us. We had a really good drive off the corners, and I think anyone could see we had really good top-end speed around the high-speed corners, which led onto the straight. So we carried a lot of speed down the straights, and you know, if we've got a car that handles better, I don't know how that works in the parity situation. I thought it was about power, not handling.
Well, Paul Stokel, if we check the Maguire's Drivers' Championship point score, is third in the series, just 7 points behind Peter Fitzgerald in second. But look at that, he mightn't have figured today, Jimmy Richards, but his consistency is paying big dividends. An 86-point lead in this championship. Stokel has a bit of fun in pit lane.